To be safe.
You tell me it's so good to see you. God bless you.
That money is the money we stole. You don't know. I don't know the sources of Mr. Benedict money. So it's a dark money. Nobody, Mr. Benedict has not been able to complete where he getting all the money from.
Anybody who studied any of the mental science manuals, which is the DSM, Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, before 1974, homosexuality was listed as a mental illness along with necrophilia, zoophilia, and pedophilia. The decision in 1974 to delist it as a mental illness was not based on science. It was based on an opinion poll of only 6,000 people. So clearly, homosexuality is a form of madness and mental illness. And what they need is psychological care.
Well, Henry Cousin might be a doctor of another kind who can determine the health of people. But I'm moving around, and who should know best about their own health but themselves? So maybe he knows more than the doctors and more than myself, but he's still my son.
Somebody want to rescue him in Maserati County. He said, brother, anything you want, you come to me. I never say he can rescue you. That's not possible. I went to the man county. Just over there, Kenya, you get solar lights. In Liberia, Monrovia is Molly. Yes. Today, if you go to Monrovia, it's like Miami.
What you just said is a blatant lie. L-I-E, lie.
In Liberia, Monrovia is Molly. Yes. Today, if you go to Monrovia, it's like Miami.
What you just said is a blatant lie. L-I-E, lie.
30 minutes after 2023, Ambassador Weah will now be re-elected, and I will be instructed to go for him to also be handcuffed in Baxter to give cause while he has exploited and looted and abused the trust of the Liberian resources. That's what we will do, and I will be willing to do that.
And this is why after we win, we not appoint any unity Palestinian or
so all that done now, ask me, I say you got to provide one car, two motorball for my people. Party! You all got now hesitate.
The things Zanakawa doing, no. If our young person was doing it, Zanakawa was going to scare them with cartel that nothing inside. They ain't get nothing inside. No power, no traditional power inside, nothing. Any traditional chief that gets smartphone and roller watch, any traditional chief, as in the sense of soul and body and traditional chief, that got cell phone, that smartphone will watch, that who has that? Zanakawa. That papa is smart and he just using job we are in his own. That man that no traditional man. Zanakawa.
Say that you are taking easy away.
Hey please, I'm speaking as senator. That man is greedy, he's unprincipled. He using these people in the name of traditional chief. He get no power behind him. He have power behind him where America are gonna win.
I'm a sitting vice president, common senate. When I'm driving, going to work, we are packed, so we're not equal. I'm the sitting vice president.
The election is at the front row. The scene where you get respect to Senator Johnson that when he speaks in Nima County, nobody speaks. You are transformed that into me. And I can tell you without fear or favor, to defend Nima County to the 4 years. Today is my time. Tomorrow is yours. Today is my time. Tomorrow is yours.
Let me tell you, and let me tell the United Partisan, even if you are not supporting me openly, you are not supporting me behind the scene. Because I am man. You are not getting no party in the race. Nobody in the race. But you are trying to say that, oh, you're in the coalition, you're going on Koga. I understand that part. Koga only playing smart. So yourself to have to be ahead of the game. Because Koga from PUP, he dropped from PUP, he go to MDR. Why he dropping so? Because he want the United Party support. And he's not doing that because of you. He only wants to win. I your man. I your me man. I your me man. And you listing Nima now. Oh, I mean the people want. I'm not stopping the party to support Koga because you're part of MDR, coalition. But don't forget Koga playing on you. Now when you jump from a party to another party, and you should not forget that my sweat barrier to power. If you don't want to support me, you should not come openly to come denigrate me.
promises are too long, too long, too long, too long. We've been in our sleep.
To another interesting edition of the program Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. We are here Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. Today is the 13th day of July 2025. My name is Matthias Labindi. I'm here with my colleague Mark Bayo. This morning on the program, we're privileged to announce to you that we're going to be having a conversation with the Director General of the National Bureau of Concessions, Mr. Theodore Momo. Honorable Theodore Momo is going to be with us from 8:05 to 9 o'clock. He's already here. Mr. Momo is going to tell us, maybe for some of us, many of you out there like me, over time since I've been reporting the National Bureau of Concessions, one issue I've reported from there is conflict. I've not reported much on progress, on developments going on in the area. In fact, at some point, I did not even know the function of the National Bureau of Concessions. All right, so eventually, it seems things have changed. Things have changed, by the way, at the National Bureau of Concessions, and we hope that the Director General will be here, will sit with us this morning and share with us important information about the happenings in the National Bureau of Concessions and where we are, what the functions of the NBC are, and what are some of the achievements he's made since he took over that institution. In case you've not heard, it is a sad moment for the people of Nigeria. Former President Muhammadu Buhari has died at the age of 82 in a London clinic. His family has confirmed the passing of the former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari. We'll be right back. Also, on this first segment of the program, we'll talk briefly. We already have 20 minutes into this. 10 minutes into this, we're going to take the 20 minutes to analyze briefly the election, not the election, but the protest planned. We have barely 2 days to go to the protest. And some of the things I've heard, even on public transport, as I made my way here to come to this studio. A lot of people raised concerns about the fact that this could be something scaring for the nation, given that some people think that the protest might erupt into violence and affect a lot of people. Well, it seems the government of Liberia, through the Liberia National Police, is on top of this development and is taking seize of it, has put in some measures into place to ensure that the protest is conducted peacefully, because even the protesters have promised that it will be peaceful. They too have something to lose. So we're going to bring you a press release coming from the Ministry of Justice, signed by Director of Press and Public Affairs at the Ministry of Justice, Mr. Jotunu Y. Colley. We'll be right back after this break. Program Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. We are here Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. Let's have a conversation with you this morning. You are our valuable listeners as always. I don't know how you spend your weekend, but a weekend spent with the family, it's worth spending every time. Whenever you want to go for the weekend, make sure you plan some activities that you can have some good time with your family. You're going to wake up the following week, which is the Monday, wake up very energetic and ensure that you get on your feet and do what is required of you. So welcome to the program. Sorry, today is the 14th of July, not 13th. The 14th of July is the date. Welcome to the program, Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. Good morning, Michael. Good morning. Welcome to the program. How was your weekend?
Well, thank you, Matthias. My weekend was great, and I love the way you said it. That it's good to spend weekend with the family. It's like you just predated my weekend. How the activities was like. I spent a weekend with my family. From in town, I went New Georgia. I spent the time with my mother and sister, and we had a great time.
Great time indeed, Michael. The thing is, when God created the universe, He put man in charge of family, and deputizing the man is the woman. There's no better place to be than with your family. The family you will when you spend the time with the family, you're going to know the problems therein.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to know the prospects therein. You're going to know, you're going to understand your children, what are the abilities that this child of yours has, what other abilities that the other child has, and thing. What are some of the issues affecting your wife and thing. Personally, there are things that she may communicate to you subtly without even expressing them in words. So by spending time with her, you're going to know, you're going to be able to understand some of the challenges that the family is confronted with. But it's good to be here again. As well, we're talking about family. Every time we wake up, our major concern as a people, we pray, telling God to guide our steps and lead us through the day and provide us protection, provide us daily bread, provide us financial breakthrough, provide us good health, and so on. But in doing so, you need peace. While you do that, you offer that prayer, you are very cognizant of the peace, that you need to ensure that you go ahead to do what is required of you. With that said, let me read a statement coming from the Ministry of Justice, Republic of Liberia. It says the CSO group stand meets officials of the Ministry of Justice over pending protest. Inspector General Coleman urges peaceful conduct. The Ministry of Justice on Friday, July 11, 2025, officially met with representatives of Stand Solidarity of Trust for a New Day, a civic advocacy group planning to hold peaceful protests beginning July 15 to 17, 2025. Stand and partners, we the people, participating civil society organizations, as well as the Youth League of the Congress for Democratic Change, have requested a permit to demonstrate on the dates mentioned above to voice concern. Scheduled protest. The Inspector General of the Police, Coleman, Colonel Gregory Coleman, in the meeting urged the organizers of the protest to remain peaceful and law abiding during the march. We recognize the constitutional right to peaceful assembly and expression, R.G. Coleman said. However, we urge STAND and its supporters to conduct themselves responsibly. Any acts of violence, provocation, or public disorder will not be tolerated. The Ministry of Justice, through the Liberia National Police, reaffirmed the government's commitment to upholding democratic. or thoughts in your minds to ensure that you go on to carry on such acts that will affect the protesters, we are urging you to not do so. Because if you are caught, you'll be dealt with according to the law. That, for me, is a way of the police saying, we are interested in the protest. We want these people to go ahead and protest. We are going to ensure their protection. In addition to the protesters, confirmation or vow that they are going to ensure that the protest is peaceful. The police too, let me charge the police to ensure that you provide protection. Like we witnessed during the CDC's administration when the June 7th protest was being held. Although the police were overwhelmed by the crowd, but the protest was peaceful. Both the organizers of the protest and the police behaved very orderly. They behaved very peaceful. Nobody was beaten. Nobody was harmed. Nobody was shot. So the police was even seen distributing water on protesters. The police at that time behaved very orderly. Maybe if I'm wrong, you can correct me. They behaved orderly in ensuring that protest was organized. I covered the protest. I was there on the ground of the protest. Yes, we had a situation where it was reported that the government of Liberia shut down the internet at the time. But we're still using another medium to bypass that whatever action that the government took to do our live streaming. Through some technological ideas that were shared with us on the ground of the protest. So yes, actions were taken, but nobody got hurt. The police was praised at the end of the entire protest. The protesters, the organizers, they were also praised at the end of the entire protest based on the way both parties organized themselves. So this whole thing, this analogy or this idea or philosophy of one saying that it is in fact the government of Liberia or the Liberian National Police that is intending to put in unscrupulous individuals among protesters, then it means that the organizers of the protest, they themselves must employ some security measures. Because I'm not too sure Mobile Molu knows all the individuals are going to be appearing by name, by their faces. He does not know all of them. Because we witnessed just last weekend, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was on Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. On Thursday, we witnessed a situation where some members of the CDC Youth League were seen marching through. I was standing around Camp Johnson where I saw them marching. They formed a manner they were dressed. It presented a picture of the rebel days, of the war days. It's more like warring faction, wearing red, black, tying the batana on their heads red, wearing red berets mixed with their blue CDC berets, looking very fearful, frowning faces. And so it's not basically like somebody went to do a message, but it's like people appear to instill fear in people. So if there should be any need for someone to be afraid, I think the protesters themselves, the planners of the protest themselves, they themselves must come up and make this thing clearly that this is not about toppling the government. This is not about overthrowing the government, because when you overthrow government, trust me, you have to employ several other measures. But this is not about overthrowing the government. This is not about attacking the president. This is about presenting petitions to the president. Now that you await your permit, I don't know whether the permit has been issued, the onus is on you now as organizers of the protest to ensure that you have all of your measures. You have to put your security in check. That while you have police providing protection, you too, as individuals, as organizers of the protest, you should be able to also organize yourself in a way that you guide your people in a much more responsible and professional way, so that the protest cannot end up to be chaotic. Marky, I don't know what your point is on this matter, but before we go to the lines, let me hear you.
Well, Matthias, I really want to, you have said it all from the angle of the protester and that of the Liberian National Police. But for me, I want to caution other groups. I receive information that there are some group on the abandoned Citizens United to promote the agenda of President Boyka and Vice President Kun. And information have it that those people are there signing caveat to stand and other solidarity groups that are going to be staging a protest on the 17th. They are coming out too on the 17th, according to them, to celebrate the able leadership of President Boyka to succeed. And according to the information that they put out there, is that they will be using between the Capitol building and that of the Executive Mansion, declaring that particular part of Monrovia as no-go zone. I just want to use this medium to call on them. Let us not make this thing look like the July 26th thing between the CDC COP and that of the Student Unification Party. This peace we enjoy in our country is incumbent on us to protect this peace. In as much as Stan have been crying, this information have been out there. It is not a secret that Stan has already declared July 17. So even if this group want to celebrate the able leadership of President Bouaka, I think they have to select another date. The Liberia National Police, if you guys have received this information, it will be prudent enough in order to maintain the peace and safeguard the entire process to put stop to those groups that you want to gather on the same day, my fires, because you wouldn't know the intent of other people who want to join the protest. For example, Stan have already signed an agreement that nothing will happen. They will make sure that they control their people. In other words, the police too will be there to protect whosoever are going to be part of it, and those who want to cause chaos, the police will be there to at least soften the ground. On the other hand, people who also want to come out to stage another maybe celebration or rally or what have you on the same day, I believe that it wouldn't alter well. So I want to use this medium also to talk to those people in as much that this is your government and you want to celebrate your government, you have all of the time to do so. Must it be on the 17th? Must it be on the same day that Stan have announced over and over the day of their protest? Must it be the same day? And you are signing caveat to people that they shouldn't use that particular. Why if Stan want to use that portion to present a petition to either the executive or the legislature, and you are telling Stan that place is a no-go zone? What are you talking about?
That's a serious point that you've raised, Mark. Here, there should be no counter protest. That basically
this is a celebration. It is not a counter protest.
No, I mean it presents that picture. No, there's no need for someone to try to polish their words and try to hide behind whatever thing they call celebration or so. We witnessed that on July 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that was in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, where Walter Susili and several other young men were humiliated. They were beaten. They were chased from the Benson Street right before the U.S. Embassy, and they were chased on all the way to the campus. Some of them were humiliated. In fact, the young boy was naked, butt naked, on camera. He was humiliated, and several others got wounded. So no matter how they try to put it, I think this is a way of people, a sign of people trying to present themselves as, diehard loyalists of the government, and therefore they want to come under the banner of celebration, but rather with the clear intent is about counter-protest. I think this should claim the attention of the Liberia National Police, the Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, Colonel Greco Coleman, and your able men. I'm very sure you people have exhibited professionalism over time. You don't want to lose that, in the public. You don't want to lose that kind of respect that the public, has for you. You have to ensure that you employ every measure. Try now and reach out to this very group that is being spoken about. That let's hear you. What are your plans? What exactly do you intend to do? Say, oh yeah, we intend to do X, Y, and Z. So yes, well, we cannot give you that corridor. If the guys are going to Asmond Street and they are going to pass through Nelson Street to go all the way to Mamba Point or Benson Street and go all the way to UN Drive and extend their march all the way to the executive mansion before they present their petition, you're not going to use that corridor. You want to celebrate the president? Okay, you should use maybe the Slipway area and use the Johnson Street and go down the Slipway and still right there have your program. It should be in an enclosed environment rather than opening it up before you embarrass because when the crowd meet, when the two groups happen to meet, in a street, that would not be some kind of like
there will not be a handshake.
It will not be a handshake. It will not be a friendly. It will not be a friendly meeting because the one group is saying the government is doing well.
So we are celebrating the success.
Yeah, the successes of the government. Another group is saying no. We are protesting because there are ills in the society, and therefore we want the government to address them. There's no way the two groups will meet, and you expect them to just smile and walk past each other. It's going to be difficult. So the Liberia National Police, the national security, should claim the attention of the national security so that they can handle this matter. Let's see. We don't have the luxury of time right now. We're going to go for a break, Michael, and usher in our guest. But we just thought to share light on this particular development this morning. And before we usher in our guest, this is Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. We are here Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. My name is Matthias Labindi. I'm here with Markia Bayo, and this morning we're going to be having a conversation with the Director General of the National Bureau of Concessions, the NBC, Mr. Theodore Momo. We'll be right back after this break. Certainly, you shall be the light of Africa, Mama Liberia. Even though nations, some world leaders may pretend like they do not know you, they have not recognized you. They do not recognize you. They celebrate the fluency of your children's English, but they know the history spans way back from all the way 1822. Even in their pretentious act and their bullying posture, you will stay a great nation. You shall be the light of Africa. And good morning to the loving people of Liberia, our valuable listeners, and welcome to the program Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. We are here Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. My name is Matthias Labindi, and I'm here with my colleague Markia Bayo. This morning, we already have in the studio the Director General of the National Bureau of Concessions, Mr. Theodore Momo. He's going to be here for about an hour, telling us about the National Bureau of Concessions. But most importantly, in fact, this is the first DG from the NBC that's appeared in our studio. I've covered the NBC for some years, for some time now. Yes, I had a conversation with Mr. Dennis on the line 1 or 2 times, but he could not make it in studio due to some other engagements at the institution. And in fact, I must also state that this is the first head of agency in Liberia, since I've been hosting the talk show for the past years, that's appeared in my studio this early. I think the first who have done that is Mr. Mamburi Yimpame, so rest in peace. But most of the time during elections, the people who would be public officials will be swift. When you call them, they come in. Sometimes 7:30 they are already around your building. Already and thing. By the time election ends and they get appointed, they find it difficult now to wake up early to come to your studio at 8 o'clock. But Mr. Momo, in fact, he reached in town before me. I live all the way Cardwell. He lived all the way on the highway. He left. I called him 6 o'clock. And at 7:30, before 7:30, he was already in town. He was parked on Broad Street, and he called me and said, Matthias, I'm on Broad Street. That's a good one. I must start by appreciating him first for that, punctuality. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Matthias, and thank you for the commendation. I have committed myself over the weekend to be here to honor your invitation. And so a part of our lifestyle, when we commit ourselves to something, we want to live up to it. And so we're here very early, irrespective of the personality involved. We respect people for their profession, for who they are and their outstanding role in society. I have followed your program. And I like your journalistic style. It dives into development issues and not too many chaotic things and, political things. So I admire that side of you. So when you called, I had to respond to that call because I think our people deserve to know about development, taking place in various institutions. They also need to know and understand how these institutions are working and how they are impacting the national development program of our country.
Absolutely.
So compelled by this, I had to be here as early as possible.
Absolutely. And just to start, talking about people need to know, I think what people have known over time about the National Bureau of Concessions is a place where deputies, the deputy DG and the DG always clash. Staff are divided on maybe 3 or 4 sides. One group would support the DG, another group would support the deputy, another group would stand by themselves. One group would consider themselves as advocates, for betterment of the institution. And so, is it a foundation on which the NBC was established? Is that the sole purpose of the NBC, or the NBC has greater responsibility rather than just presenting it in the public with conflict and confusion all of the time?
I think the NBC has a greater responsibility to the country and to the Liberian people. The NBC was established by an act of the National Legislature in 2011 when I was then in the Senate. And from the Senate standpoint, the NBC will facilitate the oversight responsibility of the National Legislature, enforce its oversight responsibility. That's how it was viewed. It was a little bureau under the Ministry of Finance, Development, Planning. But because Mr. Sadif had worked so hard and there were a lot of concessions, showing up to invest in Liberia, the presidency and the National Legislature thought that it would be a greater thing to expand that bureau, to expand that little office into an institution that will monitor compliance of the various concessionaires and sort of report to the presidency and the National Legislature to enforce and reinforce all the compliance issued in these agreements. I must tell you, when central government signs, these mineral development agreement or these concession agreement, the focus is always on development in human resource, development in infrastructure, of course, being mindful of the protection of the environment. And the agreement catalogs a lot of issues for the benefit of the affected community, people attracting, further workforce and improving the workforce, the labor force in our country. So it's a multiplicity of development issues that go into a mineral development agreement. And so central government needed an institution that will go out periodically and monitor how these commitments that are enshrined in this agreement are being attended to and get feedback so that it will either cancel an agreement on the basis of default because of the information that it received from the National Bureau of Concessions, or it would improve on its surveillance of the company, because then the company either has shown commitment halfway or partially, or then it will be able to appraise the company because it is doing exactly what is enshrined in the agreement.
In the agreement.
So,
but why you expand further is that I just want to know, where are you during the signing of those concession agreements? Are you on the table, or you wait until the concessions are signed before you start to monitor the operations of
we do both. When an agreement is being negotiated by the IMCC, led by the National
What is
Investment
IMCC?
Commission, is the Interministerial Concession Committee.
Okay.
Is an institution that brings together line ministries who are particularly involved in negotiation, either it's in mining or it's in agro-industrial or oil industry, whatever it is. But it brings together that pool of ministries and agencies who are responsible. So when the negotiations are ongoing, we sit in the background and provide technical support. We're not directly involved in the negotiation. It's led by the ministries and agencies that are responsible, but we do provide technical support.
Do they reach out to you, or you impose yourself?
We are invited to those meetings as technicians. So here is
what sort of technical support do you provide? Say, for example, in an event where a mineral agreement is being signed between the government of Liberia and a foreign company.
So at the National Bureau of Concessions, we have various technical and professional departments. We have mining, we have agriculture, we have environmental, we have finance and economy. So when we get on the table and the issues are financial, we do provide some technical support, suggestions to the negotiating team. If the issue are environmental, we do provide them with technical support information that will inform their action. If it is mining, of course, then we bring into play our mining expertise, provide information, provide advice, and that will inform the negotiation process.
So as far as concessions is concerned, in Liberia, you have all of the technicians that fit in every area. Say, for example, a concessionaire is coming to engage into forestry, into logging. You have people who are specialized into forestry to provide a technical advice. If it is mining, you have mining experts at the NBC to provide the technical support.
Indeed. We have all of the units, and we have all of the manpower. That there, of course, there are always room for improvement. We keep training, and keep availing our people for more expertise. So when the agreement is done with, then we take another shift. In this aspect now, we go to monitor compliance. We're not going there again to provide technical support. In fact, when the agreement is signed and sent to the national legislature, is ratified and eventually signed into law by the presidency, then a copy of that agreement is submitted to the National Bureau of Concession.
To commence your monitoring work.
From there, our monitoring of compliance begins. And the exercise should be, as I said, periodically. But over time, budgetary constraints, logistical constraints have all undermined, the ability of the NBC to do compliance across the country every other year. However, one is encouraged to work with the meager resources that you have to continue to do what the entity is mandated to do. So there have been progress by previous Director Generals of the National Bureau of Concession. When we took over, we're tapping into that progress and accelerating the work of the National Bureau of Concession. I should tell you, when we took over, a major review of the programs that we met on the table. Very beautiful work that was done by Mr. Dennis and his team. We did a major review, and we decided some of them were reports that were still pending. Some of them needed investigation, and some of them needed conclusion. So we began working assiduously to make sure that we will bring some of the issue to closure. One of them is the metal steel agreement. Mr. Dennis and his team have done a compliance exercise of metal steel. They have done a draft report. So that draft report was pending. They issued the draft report to Metal Steel. That was some years back. Metal Steel responded by carrying on its own compliance exercise and submitting its report to the NBC. The Director General then rejected it, and then the case was there until his tenure was over.
Why did he reject it? Did you meet that in a turnover note?
Because it was not Metal Steel place to do its own compliance and submit reports.
Oh, so sorry. Just a moment. Let me clarify something. We need to clarify something briefly for the public. What your predecessor did, Mr. Edwin Dennis did, is that conducted investigation of the compliance nature of Metal Steel or ArcelorMittal, and then submitted to the institution that XYZ thing you have not done and so on is a possibility that there's a need that you go on and do it. So Metal Steel went ahead and did her own compliance work and then submitted a report to the NBC. What should Metal Steel done at that time? What should it have done at that time regarding making sure that it meets the requirements in terms of compliance? Should it have communicated to the NBC and say, you know what, we want to go on with the compliance, but we need you to send representatives so that they can witness how we go about, adhering to some of the things that you've outlined? So what step did they miss?
This is how the system works. It's almost like an audit. It's almost like what GSC or maybe the IAA would do. When you go out in the field, we normally go and set up thematic areas. We have people that are responsible for environment. We have people that are responsible for human resource and social development. We have people that are responsible for mining. We have people that are responsible for labor and employment, all the kind of thematic areas. So we go into these engagements because we see counterparts of this group into the concession industry. There are people responsible for human resource and manpower. So we fix a team of experts that will be able to raise the issue of employment and all the records, all the data concerning employment. Another interesting group we have is the finance and economic unit. Of course, when we go for concession, they take on the counterpart within the company. So when we do all of our findings, we do all of our interview, we do all of our sightseeing, we'll come back on base, we'll compile the report. It's a draft report. We send that report back to the concessionaires, and they are to respond to the findings, to the inquiries, to the issue that we raise. Once they send those responses back, then we go back into a committee room and look at the differences. In some areas, the concession were made that we've defaulted here. In some areas, they will say, well, we're going halfway with this, we're still implementing. In some areas, they will say, no, your finding is not right. And so we'll go back on the table to make sure that we exhaust all of the remedies. If our findings remain as they are, of course, then they are marked under the issue of non-compliance. So when the first draft was done and sent to them, their responsibility was to respond directly to the issue rather than laying it aside and doing their own compliance report and sending it. At the last Senate hearing, we have told the Senate about this development, and we are urging central government to assist the National Bureau with resources, with logistics, so that we can be able to finish this report out and come up with a final report, because the issue of metasina is a critical issue in the country. The legislature are talking about there is I think a renegotiation ongoing, so there's a need to finalize this report. But I just said that in passing to show that when we took over, we began immediately to connect ourselves to the issue on the table. So going forward, we also had an issue with Libing. Libing is an oil company in Grand Bassa County. And the issue with Libing was it has not been able to remit its 1% annual growth sale to the affected community. That is an issue we follow up, and I'm proud to report, proud to inform the public rather, that issue has now gone to bear. The company has come forth with the final amount of money it has for the community. We have sent our auditors. They have reviewed the books, they reviewed the documents, and they have authenticated that amount. So moving forward, we're now trying to convene a national stakeholder meeting so that we'll go back in the community and remit the money for the use of the affected community.
I don't get it. The company has paid, and now you're talking about calling a stakeholder meeting to remit the money to the community. In whose account was the money paid?
There is a process leading to it. That is why the national stakeholder meeting is necessary. They are going to open an account that will be monitored by the affected community, the Minister of Finance, and I think the Minister of Internal Affairs, including NBC. We will not be direct signatories to the account. We just monitor it. So that money, the reason why it has to go into an account that government will monitor is that the money will be used for projects, will be used to benefit the people directly.
What I'm sensing.
But before then, the NBC has gone in the affected community. We've run a series of training in business management. We ran another training in conflict resolution and mitigation, negotiation, and things, because there is this group called the multi-stakeholders group that is elected from among the members of the affected community, and that committee is supposed to be a liaison between the community and the affected and the concession, but it also is a committee that will superintend the development aspect of this program. So they will be directly implementing the financial resources that they're getting from the company in such a transparent way that the NBC will be on the table to see, the concessionaire will be there to see, other line ministry and agency will be there to make sure that their money is utilized, not imposing our will on them, but also making sure that members of the affected community inclusively benefit from the money. So that's one thing we've been able to bring back on the table, work and finalize.
So on that, I want to know, over the years, NBC have been in the news for a bad reason. That is, there have been some accusations that NBC has been engaged into financial malpractices. So under your leadership, what reform has your office initiated to improve transparency and accountability within the concession area? Because you're talking about money was paid, and you want to call stakeholder meeting and things.
When you say NBC was involved in malpractice, is a broad statement.
There have been allegations. There have been allegations of money, for example, like you're talking about for the use of community empowerment and things. Communities have been affected, and concessions have been accused of paying money to NBC for that purposes and not been used for its intended purpose. Now you are talking about there was money paid, and you want to have a stakeholder meeting to see how the communities can profile maybe how to use this money for their benefit. What reform for transparency have been initiated?
The NBC does not receive money from concessionaires. That's the first thing that is wrong with that assertion. No concessionaire pays money to NBC, or NBC is not a conduit through which money is transferred from one party to another. I just said the money in question is a compliance issue. In the agreement, it says every year when the bank make its sales rather, it will remit 1% of the annual gross sale. They will set it aside for the affected community. So we have been working with the affected community and the lawmaker of the region to make sure that this money was brought forth. Now, when I talk about money, it's not care that is coming, it's documentation. So the company reported to us that we have X amount of money constituting the total amount that we have for development of the affected community. That information was made available to us. We were not satisfied with it. We sent our auditors. They audited the books. They verified the information. And they concluded with a report that, yes, this amount of money is that amount that they have for the community. So we haven't touched money yet. The money is still paperwork. Now, when all the institutions come together under the stakeholder arrangement, and then they will open an account, we have assisted the community with the bylaw and constitution. We have assisted them to get the business registry so that all of the requirements are met so that they open their own account. They are signatory to the account. We're not receiving money. We monitor to see if the money is going into that account and is used, for the intended development purposes. So there has not been a time where money, in my knowledge or during my time, money has been transmitted through the NBC. The NBC is not involved in receiving money. So with the issue of the bank, we also have made sure that the concession company and the affected community have a forum through which they will meet and sort out the differences. And that is the beauty of these exercises, because in most of the concession areas, sometimes you have conflicts sparking out, ranging from maybe financial matter, labor issues and things. So the NBC has worked as serious as not only in Lebeng, but in many of the concession area, working with other line ministries and agencies, mines, internal affairs, justice, and many other institutions to set into place mechanism that will help us to monitor, conflict issue, that will help us to mitigate conflict issue. And so these are critical structure in these various communities that we work with. So the beauty of this one is that with the disclosure and the verification of the amount of money that the company has, the next phase now will be how the community itself conduct itself in utilizing this money to transform their life. That will be an information that will serve as a trickle-down effect will take to other communities. You see Lebeng, you see the way they're using the money, you see the development project they're doing, or the business entity that the community is involved with. This is the same way we want your multi-stakeholder platform group to perform. So it's a model that we're taking out. So all of us are very, very much careful. We're working as leaders with the national legislature on this matter and the other ministry and agencies so that this attitude and this action can trickle down to other communities. But I need to tell you, Lebeng, he raised the issue of money. In time past when money from companies were remitted to communities, it was just divided.
Divided one home.
And people, the community people, the leaders will sit across the table, and at the end of the day, you ask them, what did you do with the money? Nobody will just answer. So this new approach is that the money must be used to do tangible things. In fact, it should be a situation where the money will be used to accelerate other developmental programs of the community. Say, for example, if in the concession community, for example, you say in the oil palm industry, the community could decide to do an outgrower program, open its own farm, produce its own crop, and resell. While it's selling that money, profit coming to the community, the quota that the company is supposed to pay to them, say keep rolling, so that they have more resources coming back to the community, and that they can build upon it to get involved into business venture that will increase the capacity of the affected community to cater to its people.
With the exception of the pending stakeholder meeting, is there any evidence of some of those good projects that you're talking about where you want that have been reframing of some of those usage of money? Is there any? Yes,
and I would have come to that in MOPP, where we just left not too long, that's in Maryland and CRC. The report we got there, the multi-stakeholder platform that's there, has been engaged in commercial activities using the resources. We've got briefing from them, and we saw what they're doing. They said the community needed a funeral service facility, which were lacking, for them, and so they took it as a community need. So they got part of the money, and they were able to devote some resources towards that. For them, it answered the question of a need they have in the community. So yeah, there are other communities like in the Kijo area now where there were serious conflicts. You can recall there was a massive demonstration that took away lives and property, and we regret those. Like the president said, no Liberian should die at this time for those kind of reasons. When we saw the multi-stakeholder thing right now, there is a little bit of calmness. The committee is working along with the concession, and whatever funding that is going to the community, they have a group now that is superintending it, that is overseeing it, and that can reach out to the company and address some of the critical needs and things. So this is all intended to keep the concession area safe, but also that the people can receive from the concession area, from their government, the benefit of the tapped resources.
You recently conducted some form of survey at the, I think, APM terminals. I don't know what the outcome was about your verification of the status of the APM terminals in terms of whether is it compliance that you want to investigate, or you want to investigate the full operation of the APM terminals as part of your responsibility as a concession organization.
Okay, so APM terminal is a concession, and it came into being 2011, and since that time it hasn't been monitored. There was an attempt by my predecessor to do a compliance exercise. It was interrupted by the election. And so quite recently, I think it was in May or thereabout, we received a communication from the chairman of a steering committee, the port manager, Honorable Dukle, indicated to us that the president, His Excellency Joseph Yumaboka Sr., has expressed very deep interest about the revision of the concession agreement of the APM terminal, and indicative of his vision, he has commissioned a national steering committee to supervise the revision process. We thought it's a good exercise because the port itself, plays a major pivotal role in the life of the economy of our nation. Almost 90% of all that we consume in the country, comes through the port in terms of goods and services. So we approach this exercise with much aggressiveness. We put together a compliance team. We communicated with APM Terminal. the National Port Authority were kind enough to beef up our logistical, needs, and so we attended to this exercise with much more haste because we thought that the implication of doing it for the life of the economy was beneficial to the country and to all of us. So by now, I can announce that we concluded the first phase of the report. We have a draft report that was produced, I think, within 3 weeks of our work. That draft report was sent back to the concessionaire, that is APM terminals. Then a report was also sent back to the port. In this affair, the port is a national regulator.
Right.
And so there are issues in the concession that relate to the port and its activities. So just fair enough that we sent back the report to them so that they can review some of our findings and see whether we are all in line and in tune with the fighting circumstances.
What did you find out?
Right now, it's premature to disclose what we found out. So what the APM terminal has done, it has responded to
your findings.
To our findings. So as I speak,
stating what? That
again,
it will comply to what you found out.
Again, these findings,
because there were reports of some issue of non-compliance in terms of even safety measures and all of that.
Matthias,
so, yes.
This
with your findings responding, because there are times that institutions responded to some investigation, not just the NBC. We witnessed that, we've seen that, where some institution conduct investigation and then they send a report back to the various institution. I remember SDR conducted an investigation, for example, on I think Maryland Oil Palm Company something. There were things. The report was submitted back to the Maryland Oil Palm Company. Unfortunately, Oil Palm Plantation something. Unfortunately, a lot of things did not change from there. I witnessed that few years back. So when I ask you about what you found out and you say you can see that, no problem. But what is their response? Are they saying they're going to comply to what you said?
So this is what is going to happen, and the issue that you just related to, is an unfortunate thing, but we are careful at the National Bureau of Concession under our leadership. This is what's going to happen. Normally, when you send out a draft report, there are three things that come back to you. One, the company will concede. In some areas, it will say, yes, your findings here are fine. The next thing, the company will say, look, halfway, I have done this. I'm in the process of doing this. I haven't finalized it. Another thing that may come out, they will contest and say, no, your findings are wrong. We disagree. So
when you say the company responded, it is in several categories of the response.
It is in several categories of the response that they made, and they are in the three categories.
So yes, ma'am.
I come in. There will be issue that they will contend with, that they will contest against.
Right.
There will be issue that they will concede to. That there will be issue that they say, yeah, but we're working on it. It's a work in progress.
What do you do if there's a contention? What do you do if there's a contention to your findings? Given that you are, just a moment, given that you have technicians, you have the technical know-how, you have the instrument, according to you, even the port management, supported you logistically, to go ahead with the investigation. You have all of these technical knowledge, and so then someone is saying, no, we are contending. You said that the lenses of my glasses should be 1.5, and you're saying I should use 0.5. Given your technical know-how, that's why you recommended 0.5. On what basis? How then do you approach such discussion when the party contends against what you know is factual?
Simple. The basic way that we go around this thing is on the basis of facts. Say, for example, if in the area of economic and finance, the agreement say by this time the concession should have remitted $25.
Right.
And our findings show that it has not been remitted. And the company said, no, we've done it. We'll go and review the records. The facts will be shown by the figures on the record that we audited. If they can disprove by presenting documents to show that that money was paid, then it's a non-compliance issue. And so it will go with environment, it will go with employment, and then when you contend to it, you must bring the fact to disprove our findings.
Okay.
So we have the technical know-how to do that. So right now, the committee is meeting and is cutting out all those issue of differences. We would engage a company, we would tell them you got to disprove by showing our documentation, by showing our proof that our findings are not proper. And if they don't do so, then it's a non-compliance issue.
You mentioned about reviewing the APM terminal's concession agreement. That even the president, it was dear on the president's heart, and the port management communicated to you. When you talk about review, I mean that's a broad term. To me, it may suggest to someone that let's review Matthias's stay in this institution. Initially, we agreed that Matthias would have been with Sky FM for 5 years, but given his poor performance, he should now be in Sky FM for 3 years, because we can no longer keep him for 5 years because he's not performing according to our expectation. During your review, what did you seek to achieve at the end of it? What exactly did the port management state in the communication to you that when you're reviewing, please check for this? Are you just looking at the compliance or the length of time the APM terminal will operate? Some of the clauses in it that many people think that they're not in the interest of the people of Liberia. What exactly did you go for in your review process?
So my reading of the review process is intended for us to be able to ascertain and determine whether APM terminal has lived up to the true meaning of the agreement, but the compliance issue that had enshrined in the agreement. Government wants to know whether APM terminal has played her role, has played her part, has honored fully all of the terms of the agreement. On the basis of that, of course, this is not the NBC place. The NBC doesn't have the power of enforcement. On the basis of what information will provide to government. Government may, and I'm saying may because they are close, the authority, the central government may decide to either cancel the agreement, to either give an expansion, or to either give an extension, or to levy fines, or to compel APM terminal to honor every aspect of the agreement that they defaulted upon. Again, the information will provide is to inform government's action towards a revision, so that final determination as to where government is going with it is left with the presidency and the national legislature.
Do you provide recommendations? Do you provide recommendation in the process of submitting your report as to what the government should do?
We provide findings, we provide recommendation, and it's up to central government. But I think in this context and in many other areas where we've done all of the compliance, is a major issue of law that before central government reviews a contract, it relies upon the concession compliance agreement that is submitted to it by NBC. So the government has a lot more things that they can do with it. If the compliance nature is poor, government could take action. If the compliance nature is enhancing, is encouraging, government can base upon that and review the agreement. But also, you must know that there are changing times and circumstances now. From the time this agreement was signed, 2011, beginning from that time up to the time, the variables in the economy have changed. Situations regarding labor, safety measure has changed. So when government makes a determination to review an agreement, government is simply saying that we want to make sure that this thing conform to current day reality, to current day living standard, to current day economic reality for the benefit of our people. So all of these are enshrined in the vision to review the agreement. But particularly in this context, I must state, the APM terminal plays a vital role in our economy. It controls the continuous shipping process, which is directly linked to businesses, to goods and services. So if government makes a determination to review it, government focus is on the economy. Government focus is on how prices can be revisited within the context of all of these things to help alleviate the poverty and suffering that Liberian people. The government focus is to make sure that business is done in such a way that there's a trickle-down effect that benefit people of the country, and people who are using the port for shipment of goods and services. So I think it's a beautiful thing. Is a thing that is beneficiary to our national development program that government is reviewing this contract for the beauty of the economy.
Talking about that, Mafia, quickly, my concern. Sometimes concessions agreement always come with some political attachment. To what extent has political interference, maybe pressure from powerful interests undermine your working at the Bureau?
Well, as I said earlier, in the negotiation process, we are narrowed down to technical support. So I wouldn't say much of the politics and what have you that go into it. But I can tell you when the agreement is signed and it comes to the National Bureau of Concession, and we have to do monitoring and compliance, we haven't had a situation where there have been interference on our work, not even with the national legislature. In fact, I told you earlier that the National Bureau of Concessions was created to enforce and reinforce the oversight responsibility of the national legislature. So the national legislature does depend on the NBC to provide it with information that they will hold these companies accountable. So there has not been an issue where they have interfered with it. You will notice every time that the national legislature has raised issue with any of the concessionaire, it will rely on the NBC. They will cite the NBC to inform it information, to inform its engagement. So they have been very cooperative. There has not been a political interference to our job. The only thing we continue to appeal to the national legislature is the fact that the National Bureau of Concession is that vital national economy that needs funding, that needs logistical support. And this is it. If these compliance exercises are done annually, there will not be a room for any concession to default.
Absolutely.
Because they will know that next year the NBC is coming, and when they come, the report is going to the president, the report is going to the national legislature. Hey, they're going to hold us accountable. We can incur a fine, or we can have some penalty. They will be on their heels doing what is right continually.
And that's the point. I was just about to ask you one last question before we get to the lines, so maybe two, about what do you consider as the most challenging thing in executing your tax at the National Bureau of Concessions? With that in mind, I just want to add, talking about the National Legislature relies solely on the NBC to provide review of the concessions in Liberia. A couple of months back, the Bon County, I think District 3 lawmaker, this lady wrote a communication. Mwema Briggs Mensa wrote a communication to the the House of Representatives, requesting a review of all concession agreements in Liberia, dating back to the time we used to say 68 Bukos concession agreements were signed, and there's a need that the government reviews those concession agreements. I did not hear the name of the NBC as a party to that review process, but rather the chairman on concessions, I think one Peter Flomo, who is presiding over that. Were you communicated to by the House to aid in the process of reviewing the concessions, or the House is doing it unilaterally to conduct the review without your consent?
I said the national legislature relies on the National Bureau of Concession to inform its revision process, because we provide data, we provide updates. The way that you can review a concession agreement is to first of all know how the concession has behaved in terms of compliance. So it's not just an issue that is done overnight. You must have data, you must have information, you must have basic facts to confront the concessionaire and to know whether they have lived within the confines of the law that would determine a greater revision exercise. So at any point in time, the National Bureau of Concession is called in to provide its technical support, its information, its compliance exercise. It's just too unfortunate that many of these concessionaires, because of logistical issue, because of some other reason before I got there, have not been attended to in terms of compliance. But we are hoping and praying that the National Bureau can be strengthened so that we can go back and do all of these compliance agreements. With this agreement, so that government can have a definitive position on most of these concession agreements.
What specific area are you seeking strengthening, as an institution that government can provide?
Vehicles.
You don't have vehicles?
We don't have vehicles to go down. If you were now, the National Bureau of Concession is relying on the 3 project vehicles.
Were they given by the government or international partners?
They were given by partners. So if these
Who
vehicles,
are the partners?
If these vehicles, the World Bank,
okay,
the World Bank assisted the National Bureau of Concession. We need other logistical support. The Bureau work is made a field work. When they take people out in the field, you need to cater to them. This year, we have in our budget for concession compliance $35,000 United States dollars.
35,000
United States dollars to cover DSA.
So for all of your staff, all of your technical staff that should be going on the field.
For all of our technical staff, even though it has grown from something like 10,000 last year, if I'm not making an error, and it has improved by 35,000, we hope in this coming budget, government can pay attention to it. That cannot even monitor 3 good concession companies. So these are the challenges. We need vehicles. We need funding. Of course, training have been made available through our partners. We have massive training ongoing at the National Bureau of Concession. We also need electronic gadgets, increase computers, desktop, and other things. We are developing now the reporting template at the National Bureau of Concession. We're trying to go digital in our reporting system, so that the physical interaction will happen, but it's only for verification. So as soon as we got that done, and it's with the help of the World Bank again through the LIFT project, the digital reporting template is being built. Once it's done, we just feed the information over to the concessionaire. We don't have to come to you. You just have to respond continually.
Based on the template.
Every time you do something, you just give out a response, and they will track it down. So at the end of the year, we can just sit right in our office and be able to determine whether you comply with article this or section this. It's just automatic. Another development that is coming out is the concession information management system that will be able to track exactly the issue of compliance and tell us whether this person is in red, that means they defaulted at once. This person is in blue, they've done this, or this group is in green, they are working towards it. That project is now being finalized through LIFT. There will be a bidding process, and we have recommended very strongly again that a Liberian firm, for the beauty of having our people to participate in the process, a Liberian firm be chosen to help us build that system up. And the LIFT authority have assured us that they're doing all that is within their reach to make sure that we can benefit from this. Another big project that is coming up to the National Bureau of Concession, of course, is linked to other ministries and agencies, is the local content. The local content policy is a project, is a vision that was derived from Sierra Leone, our next door neighbor, and the focus is that all of the procurement needs of the companies will be brought in one basket and be available to Liberian-owned businesses. They can tap into those procurement needs for business purposes. So in that way, the local Liberian businesses will be participating in the procurement of goods and services for concessions from the companies, the concession. That is coming up. There's a stakeholder meeting coming up in Banga very shortly to look at the policy, to contextualize it, and then it goes into effect. That would be a good thing for our local business of our country.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. Let me just inform you, members of the public, that if you're just joining us, you're listening to Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. We are here Monday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock. Today is the 14th day of July, 2025. My name is Matthias Labindi. I'm here with Mark Bayo. Privilege enough, we are hosting the Director General of the National Bureau of Concessions, Mr. Theodore Momo. He's our guest since 8:05 this morning. Let's have a conversation with you briefly before we go. We don't have the luxury of time. He may not exhaust all of the things. In fact, we're going to be talking about. We hope that we can do this periodically, and maybe hopefully by next week again, or maybe before the end of this week, you can come back on Thursday or so to conclude on some of the things that we have on our list. Let's hear you. Call us on the numbers 077777107, 07777221223, 077777107, 07777221223. Better stay, call us on 0887016040. The numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. This is Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. We have in the studio Mr. Theodore Momo. He's the Director General of the National Bureau of Concessions. He's our guest this morning since 8 o'clock till now. Let's hear you. What do you make of the conversation? What are your thoughts? What are the issues that you want to raise with the DG of the National Bureau of Concessions? What are some of the things that he has said that you agree and disagree with? What are the recommendations you want to make to him? You want to provide him? Let's hear you now. Call us on those numbers 077777107, 07777221223. The numbers you can call us on to participate on the program this morning. This is development reporting, and we are dedicated today. Let's hear from this person. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. You're live.
Morning. I'm Emmanuel Yanti, and I call from the National Bureau of Concessions.
Mr. Yasa, go ahead. Please walk away from the noise.
Yeah, so please, I just want to say thanks to our DG. Since the DG took over almost a year ago, he has been up to the task. We want to say thank you for appointing him. The thanks goes to Honorable Bwaka. The DG have been in the Senate. He was there when the agreement was passed on the 11th, so he's the right person to give oversight to concession companies and PPPs around Liberia. So I just want to say thanks to him. He has been doing well. They left visit to Maryland County to monitor MOPP and CRC in Grand Chile County. They will work the Liberian people money. I just want to say thank you again for all the work he continues to do. You see, NBC work is very critical. NBC can generate more money for Liberia if it has a tool and equipment to work with in the budgetary support. So I asked the president to look in NBC direction. NBC is almost like the IAA or the JSB, you know, the how you call it, the audit compliance issues. Everything that in the MDA for in a concession company, they do monitoring and compliance. For example, if the AML says after 10 years we have 10 Liberians as managers, and after 10 years they do not have them, NBC can go after them. Okay. NBC can.
Thank you so much. Do we have another person there?
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You're the last person we have to
go. Mr. Labindi and Mr. Bayo, and to your guests.
Good morning.
David E.R.S. Nakwa from Benton Street.
Go ahead.
Mr. Labindi, on the issue of the protest, I think we are aware that stamp
No, sorry. We're not talking protest now. That was the first segment, and this is complete.
Okay, so I have a question for your guest.
Okay.
I hear him say most often a concession is being signed, they are on the table. So if a concession is signed and the company is supposed to do a specific, like building roads in the district or town, or building hospital or clinic, if indeed the company defaulted on what it's supposed to do, what is their rule as the concession?
Thank you, sir. We have the BBC coming up, Mr. DG. Thank you for the time. We so much appreciate your presence. We just give you 30 seconds to.
So shortly to that quarter, when we report our finding is left over to the president office and the national legislature to take action. But I'd like to thank you for the invite. I hope I can come again to say more. I have more on my plate.
Absolutely.
But with respect time, I come from a media background. I know time is of the essence. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And that's all the time we have for today's edition of the program Sky Morning Live on Sky 107.1. We're privileged today to play host to the Director General of the National Bureau of Concessions. Join us again tomorrow for another fascinating edition of the program Sky Morning Live. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful day. My name is Matthias Labini. I've been here with Mark Bayo. We'll be here again tomorrow.
Also, the man behind the first ever animated feature film and the Buenos Aires marchers fighting violence against women.
There were many testimonies from people who, for the first time, could say out loud that they had been abused. They were saying it in a square where there were 1 million people who were willing to believe them.
That and the bizarre story of Eva Perón's disappearing corpse